Beautiful humans, happy Monday. Welcome to Embodied Impact, where we're exploring the relationship between entrepreneurship, relationships, and how we contribute to the world. And today we have the pleasure to be here with Diana Indries, the creator of the award-winning game and platform Better Topics. So I have a box here as well. And yeah, what we want to explore today with Diana is like, how do we build like deep, loving, fun-filled, beautiful relationships? And yeah, with that, Diana, I would love to hand it over to you to unpack like what relationships actually like mean to you and how you came up with the idea of this game.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for inviting me on your show. I'm super excited to be here and to share some of the things that I've learned over the years so that people listening to us today uh, don't go through the same as I did, because they don't have to, because I have the knowledge now, that from my experience, and I can share this with them. So they can avoid a lot of obstacles that I had to go through.
And I think it's important also to highlight that the game is with couples in like 176 different countries and like tens of thousands of couples that have used it. And yeah, so when I was actually playing it with my partner, it's been a really fun experience because we've been going through a bit of a transition period at the moment. And so I feel actually playing this game has really had a positive impact in terms of like how I think there's definitely been more kindness and gentleness that came after just even playing one round. So I'm curious to unpack and play more with her in that sense. So yeah.
That's amazing.
How did you actually come up with the idea for the game? Like, what was your journey to that?
The journey, in a very interesting way, it started years before creating the game. Um, I would like to say I would just woke up one day and I just thought of a game and created it, and boom, that's it. We've made it and it's out there. However, the things that led to us creating this game, and when I say us, I mean me and my husband Robert, um, are many things that happened years before. So I was in my dating phase in my early 20s. I had few relationships, and they all started to fail. And after a few years of failed relationships, looking back at them and analyzing them, like what happened, because the partners used to be very, very different one from another. I realized that the only common point in all of those relationships was me. Now, this was quite difficult to digest at a time, and it took me some time, to actually accept that idea. But with accepting that idea also came a revelation that if I am the only problem in my relationships, then I have the power to change my future relationships if I know how. So that is how I started exploring this realm of relationships, and I started educating myself more on what a good relationship actually looks like, and what a good partner looks like, and all of these things, because um, unlike skills that we do at the work or in our hobbies or career, relationships is not something that we learn growing up, other than what we see in our parents, friends, maybe family, and people around us. And interestingly enough, we don't grow up reading books or going to courses about relationships, although I strongly think we should. Um, we tend to learn what we've seen around us, and then we want to have a great relationship based on things that we've just looked at, if that makes sense. Whereas in your career, normally, what do? If you don't know how to do something, you'll take a course on it, you'll read few books, you'll start doing it, and then you perfect it, and then it becomes a skill that you have. Whereas with relationships, people just expect to know what to do with them, how to be in a relationship without having any proper knowledge about them, without any studying anything about them. So that's how my journey started. And it took me a few years, and a lot of courses and a lot of learning to actually understand what a great relationship is. And as years went by, I actually met my husband, Robert. Now here as well, it's a very, very long story. But basically, when we've met with Robert, we were both already very much involved in learning a lot about relationships and what makes a great relationship. So when we came together, we already had this determination to make our relationship great, because we knew exactly how, and we felt we found a great partner with whom to do it. So, once we started being in a relationship, we have set uh, a weekly date night for us. Although we still don't have kids at this point, and we were just dating, when we started implementing the date night, we still kept it to this day. We have an afternoon a week, and we keep it during weekdays. So it kind of breaks up our week a bit, and it gives us something to look forward to during the week as well, not just weekends, especially because mainly in weekends we tend to be busy with friends or family, or maybe even visiting something, and not as much focused on the relationship itself. So, because we already had our date night, and on our date night we usually tend to switch up things. We either watch a movie or we go for a walk, or something that we both love a lot is board games and card games. We love to play with each other, especially because we are both quite competitive. So we started also getting so-called card games for couples, because we're both passionate about working on our relationship too, and we're again still quite determined to make it work. And we said, why not do two in one? We still play a game and we take care of the relationship too. So for us, it's in like a win-win. But we were super disappointed to find out that many of the so-called card games for couples weren't games. They were just one-off questions printed on a piece of paper. And that for us was quite frustrating, especially for me, because first of all, the questions didn't even make much sense for us anymore, because we were together already for a couple of months. And second of all, there wasn't any game in it. Like, there wasn't anything to play. You would just ask the question and put it aside. And once you go through the full deck, you can just throw it away. And that just frustrated me, because I said, you don't even need to get these so-called card games. You can just open an article online, read all the questions, and discuss them if that's what you want to do. But even those questions, I didn't feel are helping the relationship in any way or helping us grow in any way. It wasn't anything important. They were very, let's say, light things like, what's your favorite color, or what's your favorite ice cream? And yes, to a certain point, they do make sense, these questions, but they're not crucial to making a relationship work. They won't be the ones that move the needle from a mediocre relationship to a great one. So, that's how, this is one of the reasons why we've actually created a game, because we ourselves were frustrated. We couldn't find anything that we liked. So we kind of created this for us in a way, and couples like us that are quite busy with their daily things to do. Maybe you have your career, your hobbies, kids, even family, you name it. But you still want to have a great relationship as well, and you don't have too much time for it, and you don't have too much, let's say, headspace for it either, because you have your usual issues. But you still want to experience a great relationship, so you can get a game like the Better Topics game that doesn't require too much time. Like, anyone can dedicate at least 1 hour a week for their relationship and play the game, and also discuss important things that help the relationship move forward and grow into a great one. Because I have this strong belief that a great relationship, it's not just found and then it exists, but it's an organic thing that evolves over time. And if you don't take care of it, and if you're not committed to making it great, it won't be great. Like, you cannot really expect other people to come and then help you have a great relationship unless you want to learn from them. But at the end of the day, it's still you, the person in the relationship, that has the power to actually make it great and enjoy the greatness of it as well.
That's really beautiful. Definitely this piece of continuously working on it and having it
Yes.
as basically kind of like one of your projects. It's like, how do I relate? And what does it mean to me to relate? So I'd actually love to pass this back to you. like when you say a good relationship, like what is a good relationship or a good partner? Like what are the qualities or the how would you characterize it in your definition?
Um, well, what a good partner is, in the details, it really differs from person to person. In my own opinion, a good partner is understanding and supportive and loving towards their partner and others as well, but especially in the relationship. Now, obviously, how you show this again depends on your personality type, your love language, and many other things. But um, if you think about loving, you cannot really hurt someone you love, and you have a lot more patience with someone that you love, and you want to spend time with them, and you want to do things together, and not necessarily take care of them, but that too, to a certain extent. Um, what I would say is, for me, in my opinion, it's a lot similar like a good teammate. You know, like we have good teammates at work or in our business, and you don't have to be exactly the same necessarily to get along very well. You can also be opposite and complement each other, but you also have to have that understanding that yes, we are different, and I know what my strengths are, I know what my weaknesses are, I know what are my partners, and I know where to support my partner more, and I know where to give them more space and all of that type of thing. Because again, this baffled me, because before going into better topics full time, I was working in corporate for many years, and I was quite surprised to learn a lot of techniques on how to work well with a team and with a team member especially. And I was like, oh my God, if people knew this, they could apply it at home as well with their partner, because so many of those principles are very relatable in relationships. On top of that, put some passion and attraction as well, and all of those amazing feelings. So yes, I would say it's being a really good team player.
I think it's really interesting because like everything you said in the beginning is very pragmatic. It's like, okay, like how do we come together? How can I support you? How can you support me? And then the top layer is the erotic side of things. And
Well, that's the
that
thing,
actually
because
makes it the intimate relationship rather than just any relationship in that sense.
exactly. So I would say, maybe I would add to that, like being a amazing team player with some spice added on top of it. Because although being a good team player at work sometimes can be quite forced and conscious effort, because they're different, and uh, you might not, let's say, get along with them as well as you could in the real life. So for example, you might not be amazing friends in your day-to-day life with them, but you're a good team member with them at work because you kind of have to. But in your private life, in your relationship, you actually like this person. Just think about it. You like this person because otherwise you wouldn't be in that relationship. Now, I know there are people in relationships where they stopped liking their partner, but that doesn't mean they cannot start liking them again and find amazing things in them and the relationship again. Um, if they try and they still don't manage, then that's an obvious answer that that relationship, might not be able to continue in a great way. So no point to just stress yourself for years and years and just hope for the better. But yes, that I think that would be the best definition. Like an amazing team player with some added spice on top.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting when I look at relationships, it's sort of this vehicle for like real deep kind of like self-discovery and self-actualization. And I feel it's actually surfacing a lot of things that in sort of like other relationships doesn't necessarily come out. Because I feel for me, definitely the level of like intimacy is really where the vulnerabilities lie. And then within the vulnerabilities lie all the like protective mechanisms and kind of like manipulation mechanisms and whatever basically worked when I was a kid to, in a way, kind of like feel safe and be able to kind of like navigate. And
Yes.
so, I mean, it was interesting when I was playing the Better Topic team with my partner, there were some things coming basically from the questions. Like, almost had forgotten about that, you know. And so it's been actually really nice to see how, yeah, the game in a way makes things kind of resurface, and then
Yes.
it can be sort of like held. And I mean, I learned more about her, she learned more about me. But yeah, in terms
And
of like deepening this intimacy, I'm curious, like what your journey has been in that sense.
well, as I said in the beginning, we've kind of created this game for ourselves, to help us grow our relationship easier and in a fun way as well. Because look, we both work long hours, both my husband and I. We both love having fun as well together, So why not work on the relationship and have fun at the same time? We're like, why shouldn't we do that? Who says you cannot have fun and work on your relationship? Who says that all the work that you do in your relationship has to be on a couch, lay down and talking about your feelings all day? I mean, in this game as well, you talk about feelings sometimes, but um, the way we created the questions, we were quite careful with them because we didn't want them to come across as judgy in any way, but also we wanted to make them repeatable so people can actually play this game over and over again, because that's what you need to do to have a great relationship. You over and over again have to properly connect with your partner, because at the end of the day, everyone around us are our mirrors in a way or another. Like things that you like in the people around you are things that you recognize in yourself and you like too, and things that you don't like in the people around you are again things that you recognize that you have too and you don't like. Now, it's not always obvious when you have those things that you don't like, but if you analyze them a bit, you will get to the conclusion that yes, I have been maybe sometimes selfish. I have not been very truthful sometimes or 100% honest with certain things. So that's why the relationship is the most challenging one. The intimate relationship that we have with our partner is the most challenging one, because unlike other relationships that we kind of keep to a certain distance from us and at certain, like, let's say, arm's length, our partner is literally the closest to us. And I understand that many people are quite scared to let themselves be vulnerable because they're scared of being hurt. I mean, the fear of being hurt, I think, is one of the biggest fears there are. But if you do it through a game, you have a different type of setting. It's not threatening in any way. And it's a game-like setting where it's fun, it's light, and let's just discuss about things and connect with each other. This is what we wanted to help couples with. We wanted to help them move from we need to talk type of discussions towards let's play a game together and have fun and also have a great relationship as a result of it. Because alongside the repeatable questions that are in the Better Topics game, there are a lot of modifiers, like cancel the question, reverse the question, or things like this that make the game a lot more fun. And also the winner gets to choose their own reward out of the reward deck. So they, alongside the fact that, we are encouraging them to have these important discussions that also help them to also do things together, do fun things. And these rewards, again, they don't have to be massive things, like, oh my God, you have to take me on a yacht or something like that. I mean, obviously, if you can and you want to do it, that's amazing. But I don't think you can do it every day. So we focused on the rewards, and we wanted to make them doable by anyone, literally. So there are small things that you can do together with your partner, because a relationship is made great by the many small things that you add to it. It's not about the once a year vacation, 2-3 weeks maybe, where you have fun together and all is great and everything is amazing. Yes, but you still have a year, till the next one. So how are you going to navigate that? Because you still have to, work on your relationship. It's not like, okay, see you, we'll meet at the next vacation next year and that's a relationship. No, that's not, because, you have so many days in between where you still have to grow it if you want to enjoy its benefits, because having a great relationship is amazing. And again, I strongly believe that anyone can have a great one if they're willing to put in a bit of work And that work doesn't have to be tedious anymore. With games like Better Topics, you can actually make it fun. And why not have fun and also work on your relationship?
I mean, this game piece is a really interesting one because a friend of mine, he creates these little, like, what he calls hacks, like kind of these little hacky sack balls. And so he was talking about this, like being in the airport and just like playing with this thing. And then suddenly there's another person and then they start playing. And ultimately, I mean, what they're doing is they're connecting. It's the same, I mean, with my partner and I when we were playing this game. We connected on a different level and it wasn't really so... It's almost like when you have a pet or a child, it kind of like, it pulls the focus away from being hardcore focused on one another to actually, let's focus on this third thing, which ultimately kind of like allows us to connect with a sort of softer energy in some way.
Exactly. And again, because it's a game-like setting, people tend to be more honest because they don't have their defenses up yet, because, for example, if even if now my husband would come to me and would say we need to talk, straight away my defenses would be up. Oh my God, I've done something. How can I explain to him it's not my fault? I don't know what happened. And all your defenses tend to be up. And then instead of having a productive conversation, many times it's just like an attack and a defense, which is not productive to a relationship. That's not what you want. You want to get your idea across properly and you want to listen to them as well and all of this. Whereas when it's a game-like setting, there is no pressure, and most people tend to be a lot more honest. Again, because first of all, the questions are created in a way that they don't judge, they don't blame in any way, um, and we don't really want to talk about past relationships as in past partners, but past situations sometimes, not all the time. But because the reason why we actually want to sometimes discuss past situations is not to bring up again past partners that might have influenced us in a way or another, or we might still have some feelings of maybe hatred or love towards them or anything like that. But what we want is we want to learn from past relationships. What is it that worked in the past? What is it that we liked, we didn't like? Where are our limits? So that our current partner knows exactly what buttons to push to make us feel more loved and what not to push, definitely, because that definitely will just bring anger and frustration in the current relationship. And how better to learn than from exact examples from the past.
Yeah. I think it's also an interesting component that you mentioned earlier with the weekly date night and kind of having this cadence for your relationship. So
Yes.
I'd be curious to learn a bit more because you were speaking about having gone to many seminars and reading books and all sorts of things. Like, what are kind of your key takeaways from how to sort of like structure time to make a relationship great?
One thing is, and this is very true in business and in life as well, in personal life as well, is that if it's not booked in your calendar, most likely it won't happen. So especially because when we've met with my husband, I had a corporate job. I had like a 9 to 5 type of job. In the afternoon, I was mostly free, whereas he wasn't all the time. He tends to work till like 9, 10 o'clock because he works with clients and partners from, I think, 10 or 12 different time zones or something like that. So he would have calls at the most random hours and work the longest hours I've seen anyone work before. And I felt like a sort of frustration building up because I felt I didn't have the attention I wanted to have in a relationship, you know? So because I also understood that, yes, he has these long working hours and understood why, I still felt a bit, let's say, neglected in a way. And then we came up with the idea of a set date night. So, and it's actually blocked in both our calendars since then, because we still understood that if we want to make this relationship great, we do have to dedicate time to it, you know? I understand there are so many people that say, yes, but I have kids. Yes, but I have work. Yes, but I have this. Yes, but I have family. Yes, but I have, you name it. Yes, I understand all of that, because us too have all of those as well. We don't have the kids yet, and we um it is only us, but we do have quite let's say stressful jobs sometimes. um and again, if you don't block it in your calendar, then it won't happen. Simple as that. And even when you do block it, it takes a bit of time for everyone around you to understand and actually take you serious, that no, that time is blocked for you too. I mean, even my family, they used to call me at random hours, but now they know. On it used to be on Thursday afternoon for a while, and then we changed it for a Tuesday afternoon, and now for the last few weeks we again swapped it for Wednesday afternoon, and we left it like that for a while. Again, this is something that you can move around a bit and play with. What I would recommend is to do it during the week. Again,
Yeah.
because most people in weekends tend to be focused on other things, maybe house chores, maybe family, maybe spending time, maybe going out, maybe, I don't know. But at least, whatever happens in a weekend, at least your relationship time is covered during the week. And you do nothing else but actually focus on the relationship. And at least you have that minimum thing that you do in a week. Now, if you also do something together in a weekend, that's like a bonus. That's like extra time together, which is amazing. But most times that weekend time will be filled with other things as well, not just the relationship. And even if you spend time together, like traveling or something, you might not be able to connect as you would like. So that would be my first suggestion, to choose a mutually convenient time during the week. Or if you cannot, if you work like different shifts or anything like that. I had this friend of mine who used to take the last Friday of the month off. They both, her and her husband, used to take the last Monday of the month off, so they could actually spend the full morning together and the afternoon with kids, which I thought in itself was amazing. Because again, I understand it's not doable for everyone to have a date night every week, but at least a month to connect. And then, if as time go by and things start to change, you might actually want to set aside a weekly time for it. So that would be the first thing. And the second thing is that the work on the relationship can be fun too. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to, let's say, you don't have to keep wondering what to do. That's the thing. As long as you both have as long as you both do things that you like together, that's a win situation. And again, here comes a bit of knowing yourself a bit, and knowing your partner, knowing what type of personality you have, knowing what type of personality your husband has or your partner has, and knowing what type of love languages you guys have. I mean, with the love languages, if you just want to start with one thing today, I would suggest you start with the love languages themselves. It's super easy. There is this book, The 5 Love Languages, written by Gary Chapman, who's a psychologist, I think, and a couples therapist for many years in the US. And he wrote this amazing book where you basically have 5 main love languages. Now, we all have a bit of all of them, but we have predominantly 1 or 2. And once you learn exactly which one is yours and which one is your partner's, everything else makes, first of all, a lot of sense, and you get a lot less frustrated because you understand your partner a lot better. That is how usually the way we like to be loved is the way we show love as well. And that might not be the same as our partners. For example, my main love language is physical touch, and my husband's main love language is quality time. However, because I understand that my husband's love language is quality time, I do make it a point of actually spending quality time together, either on a walk, for example, or playing a video game together, or doing something that he enjoys doing. And also he understands that my main love language is physical touch. So every time he passes by me, he even if he gives me like a short kiss on the cheek, or just touches me a bit, or a small rub or anything like that, he does it first of all because he enjoys it, but he also knows that I love that so much, and that makes me feel loved. Even like a hug once in a while, even that just lifts my mood up. So I know it might sound a bit manipulative in a way, but it's not actually, because the intentions behind it are not to manipulate each other. The intention behind it is to show love to each other, basically, in a way that we get that love and we understand it and we perceive it and we accept it as well.
It's so beautiful, and I think so necessary, because it comes back to the previous point of like being supportive to one another, and it's
Yes,
to understand like what works for you. So
exactly.
there's a question from me asking, how many date nights per week would you suggest, and how long approximately? So definitely, I think it's quite interesting, a bit more the nitty-gritty of like, how do you structure date nights, and yeah, what's the time frame that you usually put aside for it?
So here it really depends on your time and availability and how much time you want to dedicate for the relationship. Um, I would say the minimum should be one date night per week. Like worst case scenario should be that. If for any reason you cannot, or one of you is like working away or something, but even in those cases you kind of can have date nights through Zoom now, because most of our lives is through Zoom these days. Um, so minimum would be one date night per week. Again, keep it during weekdays, because first of all it's easier to keep, especially once you schedule it in, and second of all, if you do something in a weekend, that's like a bonus on top of that, so that's great. In terms of hours, again, it really depends how many hours you can dedicate. I would suggest a full afternoon. Like it depends when you finish your work. For example, for us personally, our date night starts around 5 or 6 p.m. It depends how we finish our work. Um, and obviously the more hours we have, the better. If you can do like a full half day, that would be even more amazing, because it would give you enough time to relax together, to do something together, to discuss things, to play a better topics game or anything like that. But again, it really depends on your own schedule. I would say the very minimum should be at least 1 or 2 hours. Like, for example, if you have small children, you can wait till they go to bed and then have your date night for an hour or two. um, and now what is quite important is what you are doing during that 1 or 2 hours, or a full afternoon if you have at hand. Um, and I would suggest to start with things that actually help improve the relationship. So, although, for example, I really love watching movies, and I could watch movies and a lot of shows and series, for the rest of my life if I could. However, I do understand that it's not very productive for a relationship to do that, because when you watch a movie, you don't really discuss, you don't really interact as you should with your partner. It doesn't really help the relationship as much. You kind of watch something and maybe you comment about the movie, but it's not very productive for the relationship itself. So I would suggest to start things that help you have fun together and also improve the relationship. So you can start with either better topics game, or you can start by having walks together and then just discuss things about the relationship and each other. This is an important thing, to leave other problems out of this date night, because yes, you still have issues to discuss, you still have them. It doesn't mean that if you have your date night, all your problems will go away, that are not necessarily related to your relationship. However, you have to think of this like a bubble where you enter together with your partner, and then you discuss each other and the relationship, and how you want to move forward and how you can support each other best. Because these are the types of questions also that we've included in the game. So first of all, we learn from the past a bit, because there are some questions about the past, and there are also questions about the future. Like, what is it that you want to do next week? Who is someone that you want to surprise next week? Or a lot of things that, like short-term goals that you want to set for yourself, easier ones. And how can your partner support you, how can you support your partner, and all of those things. So again, just to recap this, the main things to keep in mind is to have at least one date night a week. Again, the length depends on you, how many hours you can, the more the better, obviously. And second, keep in mind to actually focus on the relationship. And again, you can do this either by having a walk and discussion, or playing a game like Better Topics game, or maybe even going dancing and having fun once in a while, And once you start having more regular date nights, you can obviously do whatever you guys want, as long as you have fun together. And it also helps the relationship, If, for example, I mean, again, you have to kind of know your partner, what they like and what they don't, and what you like. And then you can also take it in turns. For example, if, as I said, I love movies, one week we might just watch a movie that I want and then have a discussion afterwards. Another week we might just play something that my husband wants, because, for him, physical quality time is his main love language. Now, if, you know, again, it depends on your interest. If one of you likes to dance and the other not so much, one week maybe you can do that, and then the next week you can, I don't know, maybe go fishing. I'm just saying, if your partner enjoys that, So you can also change it up, and that's the beauty of the set date night, is that it's coming. And first of all, you have something to look forward to every week. And second of all, you can plan for it easily, because you know when it's happening. Because I know many people these days are like, yes, but where is the passion in that? Actually, that's how you create more passion, because you can prepare for it instead of just waiting. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Should I initiate? Should my partner initiate? Like, who is taking the responsibility for this? Who is doing this? Who is doing that? I haven't prepared anything for today. Has my partner prepared something for today? Like, you have all these questions. And then a lot of arguments can start as well, like, oh, I thought you would do it, and oh, I thought that, no, it's on you this week because I've done it last week. And all of these discussions that are unnecessary and just lead to arguments that, again, are not productive to growing a great relationship. So having a set date night is so helpful. And knowing your partner's love language also is super helpful, because we had like very long and stressful weeks as well, work weeks. And when date night came, I was like, oh my God, I haven't prepared anything. But because I know what my partner's love language is, I knew that as long as it's quality time spent together, he won't mind it. It's not like, oh, he'll be upset that I haven't organized something fancy for him. So yeah, these are I think, the main requirements to having a successful date night that actually helps your relationship grow.
I think it's really interesting what you said with the responsibility piece, because I think that's another like interesting piece, and I think it also connects to one of the questions that me was asking on, as men, do we need to step forward and say like, okay, we create a date night, we take our woman out, or because I personally feel like, man, I actually feel like, okay, I'll do it one week, my partner does it the other week. So it has this like flip-flop in it. It's this practice of like giving and receiving, and showing that I see her, and then receiving that I know she sees me. And just curious to hear your thoughts on that, like how you practice it in your relationship with Robert.
In many ways, actually, if you think about it, I mean, so we all grew up more or less in a culture where we expect men to always have the initiative, especially when we are dating, especially in asking us out as women, especially in everything. Now, some people have this skewed idea that the man is the only one that does the things in a relationship, that they have to initiate all the time, they have to be in charge all the time, and all of that. Now, I understand that some people like to take charge and some don't really that much. That being said, the man as well need to see some kind of response from the woman's side as well, and this relates a lot to dating phase, especially, if, or the initial stages of a relationship. Because if you as a man, for example, you ask someone out, you go out once or twice, everything is going great, but if she doesn't start initiating at least a conversation with you, or after a while coming up with ideas like, oh, we could go and do this, go and do that, it doesn't seem like she would be interested to spend time with you that much, if she's always expecting you to take full charge of everything. Now, obviously, here as well, there are a lot of discussions about the personality types as well, but generally, this is the thing. So, I mean, I've heard someone saying this last week, that men think that they were always the initiators, but actually is the woman that was, even in olden times, because it was the woman who kind of lost her handkerchief, and then the man, because he had to be a gentleman, he picked it up, and that's how the conversation started, or women would kind of look at them and signal them like, you're kind of interesting to me, so the man would have actually the courage to walk up to that woman and start initiating a conversation. So but once, and these are like somewhat acceptable again in the dating phase, when you don't really know each other that much and you're kind of sussing out each other, like what type of person you are, what type of person I am, this is me, this is you, I like initiative, I don't like initiative, like who's doing what, you can kind of understand these in the dating phase, hence why you're dating, that's why you're going to different type of dates, so you can see that person in different types of settings, how they're behaving, are you compatible, and what your likes, dislikes, and all of those. Now, when you're in a relationship, first of all, you kind of know each other already, and you kind of know how active your partner is or not in this field. And second of all, you can also discuss it. Like, why not just, maybe make this the theme of your first set date night, where you actually set out some ground rules. Like, I don't really want to initiate date nights, for example, or I don't really want to plan them because I'm bad at planning, I don't like planning, or whatever it is. Yes. So, and the other partner might be okay with taking that responsibility for it, and they're happy, even because some people thrive when they have to plan things, they love it, others don't. So again, you can discuss this. Everything in a relationship is discussable if you want to grow it, and if you're completely honest, and if you do it in a nice way where you want to be productive and not attacking, not giving out responsibilities to others, not bossing around your partner, for example. So these as well can be navigated quite easily if you're open to it. Or what I do with my husband, again, is that many times, if I didn't prepare anything, or I'm not, I don't know, in the mood of doing, I don't know, something extraordinary, I just let my husband know, I don't want to plan it today. I don't have anything planned. I want you to take a decision today from me, So that's what we do, Usually, I mean, sometimes I would plan something days before, and I'll let him know, like, listen, I have something planned for date night this week, it's on me. And sometimes when I don't feel like it, I'll be like, you just choose something. I want you to choose something for today, and then I'll just go with that. Now, there is also that classic joke where the partner is asking his female partner, what do you want to eat? And she's like, anything that you want. And then he like describes like 5 types of different restaurants or takeaways, and she doesn't want any of them, So that can happen as well. And I know it happened with us too, when my husband's like suggesting, do you want to do this? And I was like, not really. Do you want to do the other one? And I'm like, no. So, we would just like roll around some ideas. Again, another tip that you can do, that we've done as well eventually, was to create a list of the things that we like to do together. And again, you can do this on your very first date night. You both add to that list, and as time goes by, you can keep adding to that list of the things that you like to do and would be suitable for a date night. So when you don't have any ideas, you both go through the list and then you choose something from there, because again, they're added by you two. Clearly there will be something there that you both like to do. So there are many things that I could say about date night. I mean, again, we've been married for 4 years. We've been together for 4.5 years, almost 5 years. And we've been having a date night ever since. Like from the very first or second month that we've been together, we've already been having a date night. Bearing in mind, we've already moved in together super quick, like from the very beginning stages of our relationship, and we got married super fast and everything, and we're still super happy with each other. But for over 4 years, we have weekly date nights. Now, obviously, we do have some, let's say, rules and exceptions here as well. For example, as an exception, we said that whenever we have guests that are temporarily with us for like a week or 2, we will obviously dedicate all the free time that we have with them so we can enjoy our time together, because we don't see them every week.
Hmm.
Or if anything crucial happens, like, someone is in danger, someone has an emergency or anything like that, obviously we will take care of that. But I can tell you that has happened very, very few times. I mean, the emergency thing, thank God there weren't any when we had our date night. But I think it was just very, very few times when we actually had guests when it was our date night as well. So we just spent our time with them. But again, we spent it in a nice way as well. So enjoying each other's company and the guests that we had. So it wasn't actually time lost. But we also made a point of recuperating our date night in another night.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful to hear your dedication to that. And I feel I've sort of like, I mean, me and my partner, we kind of played with the date night idea and then kind of moved it around. I think we just haven't been consistent of saying like, okay, it's every week this week. And I have like so many other things in my life that are completely habitualized, other than actually that aspect of the relationship. And speaking with you right now, I made a few notes of like, okay, there's a couple things that I will action on right after this is over to actually start establishing this for good now.
Exactly. I mean, if it seems a bit awkward to have a set date night, like you're going on a business date, let's say, think about it like this. Use the first date night again to set the ground rules. Like, look, I came up with this idea. I think we should have regular date nights because I want to grow the relationship with you, because I love you. I want to spend more time with you, just with you and connecting, as people. And second of all, you can, maybe go out on a date out in the town, for example, especially now that most places are open, and just discuss these things whilst you're having dinner. Why not just do it in a enjoyable way? Because, if you don't prioritize this, it won't happen. And what I've seen happening a lot, and what I went through is a lot as well, and that was super frustrating to me, was that in the initial phase when we were dating, we tend to talk to each other all the time. We tend to open up and let our partner know us and us knowing them, and is that amazing connection and passion in the beginning. But as time goes by, we talk less and less with our partner about the important things about the relationship and each other. And that's where the problems start to arise, where we stop talking to our partner as we did in the beginning. And that's where a lot of the frustration comes in as well. I know this is one of the main points why I used to be so frustrated in my past relationships, because everything was so amazing in the beginning. I got so much attention, I gave so much attention, we did so many things together, and then boom, we're seeing each other once in 2 weeks. Or even if we were like in a steady relationship, we would actually connect only like, I don't know, once in so long, like months and months would pass by before I actually felt like, yes, that was such a good conversation, so good, I feel so connected to this person. So that's one of the main issues why so many relationships fail. Very rarely it's a one episode thing, that one thing happened and that's the main reason why. Many times it's a lot of small things that added up over time, because out of all the people that break up or end up in divorce, if you ask them, why did you get to this point? How did you get to this point? Many will tell you it's not just one thing. There are so many things that happen. Either they felt that they weren't listened to, or that the connection is lost, or the passion is lost, or all of these. How can you keep the passion up with someone that you don't know? Because at the end of the day, as the years go by, we do change, we evolve in a certain way. And if we don't keep in touch properly with our partner, we can wake up 10-15 years later that, I don't even know this person anymore. I don't
Yeah.
even know, are their interests the same as they were 20 years ago? you know um, do they even like that food anymore like they liked 20 years ago? All of these things you don't know. How can you know all of these things if you don't keep in touch with them um, at a deeper level than just the surface one?
And that's actually really, really interesting that I feel the attraction comes like through basically the opening up and sharing a little bit of vulnerability and
Mm-hmm.
realizing, cool, that's safe. and the other
Yes.
person like offers something in return. And I feel that actually, since we're coming to the end, it kind of connects with this whole dating world. That effectively, what I'm seeing is, yeah, having a beautiful, loving, and fun relationship is about to continuously dating deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper layers of the same person.
Yes.
That you're effectively having a new relationship with like the same human on the outside, but with ultimately like a different aspect of that individual.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. I
there's
mean,
a couple more
again,
questions that me had asked around like this whole dating thing, and one of the areas was around, like for long distance relationships, what you suggest. And yeah, also she was asking like what's the best strategy for a woman in her late 30s, early 40s who desires to have kids. And so there's this kind of like urgency, but then it's also like kind of the
yes.
playfulness.
So what I would say is I would, and I mean, this will take a bit of while to explain the context. And I understand what she means perfectly because I come from a culture where if you're over 25 as a female and you're single, everyone around you seems to have that urgency of you having to get married and have kids before 30 at least. So I understand if you're like late 40s, late 30s towards 40s, where that urgency comes from. What I would suggest is just because you want children, do not settle for a mediocre partner, first of all. Because this was one of the best things I've done in my life, was not to listen to everyone around me who were telling me that, oh, you have to, go on dates, settle down. Why don't you get married? Why this? Why that? And I was like, yes, I'm going on dates, but if I don't like them, if I don't feel that connection, that spark, that everything that makes me happy and makes me to want to be with that person, why should I settle? And once I met my husband, Robert, it was amazing. Like, I couldn't believe it that I've actually found this amazing partner exactly with everything that I wanted, with all the passion, with all the things that I wanted in a partner, same family values and all of those. And now I'm at a point where every day I'm super excited to live my life with him, and I'm grateful, and I'm not even joking. I'm grateful every day when I wake up for having him in my life and for not having settled. Now, this being said, there are a few actual things that you can do. First of all is, one, take notes. If you're listening, take notes to this, because this is exactly what I've done. And I will explain it in very few words, how this works and why. So first of all, take a piece of paper and pen and make an exact list of what is it that you want in a perfect partner. Now, when I say what, I don't mean the physical things. If you want and if they are important for you, include that as well, why not? But mostly, what are the things that you want to experience in that relationship? So when I've done because I've had my list, I wrote my list 2 months before I met my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I've included a lot of things, like the same family values. Family for me, it's very important. I'm very close to my family, and I wanted them to be close to theirs as well, or at least allow me to be close to mine and things like that. Second of all, for them to be educated to the same level as me or higher, mainly because from my own experience, those were the types of people I resonated with most. Even if the actual, let's say, education as in diploma and all of these weren't the same as mine, I wanted them to be intelligent enough and have that life experience, that some people have, that is more valuable than any school in the world. So I wanted them to be someone I can always learn from, because that, for me personally, it's exciting. It's not for everyone, so that's why this was my list. You can obviously do your list the exact way how you want it, and you can add as many things as you want. The more specific, the better, because think about it this way: the universe can give you that person at any time, but it doesn't know which one. If you will just say, oh, I want just someone taller than me, there might be 5,000 men who are taller than you only in your area. How does the universe know which one to give it to you? Or do you want to try them out, all of them, and then decide? So that will take too much time and stress. So the more specific you are with your list, the better. The second thing is that you need to do is, once you have your list, do not stress about it. And I know it sounds crazy when I say this and sometimes counterproductive, but listen, once you have your list, set it aside and go about your day thinking that you already have this amazing person in your life. Okay? So I know it sounds crazy, and for some people it's quite difficult, especially based on past experiences. And the worse the experience, I understand, the more difficult it is to imagine that. But you know, you're going through your day anyway. Might as well think of something nice. Why not? So start thinking, how would it feel for you to actually have that person in your life right now? So once you say, excited, loving, all of those, think of how those feelings feel inside of you. How is your breath? How is your body language? How do you behave when you're happy and excited that you have this amazing person in your life? Once you have that established, go about your days, um, and try to create that consciously in your life, that excitement, that happiness, because that feeling is the key that will actually bring that person in your life. And the third thing is to actually start matching that list. So you have this list of this amazing person, yes? Try to think how you would need to be. Now, I'm not saying that you need to transform your personality. I'm just saying that you have to improve. You might have to improve certain things in you that will actually attract that person. So not you transformed into a different person, but you at a better version, at an upgraded version, let's say, of yourself, with your quirks, with your likes and dislikes and all of those. And you will see that once you get this done, again, it depends how intensely you're doing it, but I am quite sure that you will find the right person for you, because this is how I found my husband. And I will just share this story very quickly of exactly how we've met, because I think it's quite crucial to let people understand that crazy and miraculous things do happen. So I moved to the city where we live in right now when I was 14 for high school and university. This is a common practice where I'm coming from. If you're from, let's say, the countryside, you kind of tend to move to the city for school. And although you're like only 14, you either live, by yourself or in rent with friends, or you have like boarding schools or anything like that. So that's quite common in my culture. My husband as well moved to the same city. So my parents are like 1 hour north. His parents are 1 hour south from the main city. I moved to the main city when I was 14, started high school. He did the same. So I went through high school 4 years. I went through university 4 years. That's 8 years together. Those 8 years my husband has spent in the same city. Now, don't think it's a big one. It's not a capital. It's like let's say, couple of million maybe. No. So it's like a medium-sized city, let's say. So it's not too big. Yes. 8 years we've spent time in the same city. We've never met. And think about the fact that as students and as high school students as well, you kind of tend to hang out in the same places. Still, we've never met and we had no friends in common. Okay. After university, I went to the UK. After, even since he was still in university, my husband moved to Mexico. Okay. And we are from Europe, the both of us. It was 6 years that I've been in the UK, and I came home to my cousin's wedding, and he was home from Mexico, because in Mexico he was having like this visa where 9 months he could spend there, but he had to have like a cool-off period of 3 months. And he was at home in our hometown for those 3 months cool-off period, and he was literally at the end of that period, And I just came home for like a couple of weeks because my cousin had a wedding and I had to attend to it. So, and it wasn't even at this wedding where we've met, it was like a random thing where my Wi-Fi didn't work. I had to call up a friend who's good in IT. He couldn't come, so he called Robert. He sent Robert to my house, so he literally came to my house and found me, which is still strange to this day how it happened. So you see, amazing things do happen. First of all, if you know exactly what you want, the universe will give it to you. And if you are already grateful for it as you're having it, and if you already make and behave in a way that you're actually having that, you're creating sort of a void and that void will attract that person. But be very careful what you're wishing for, because before having met Robert, I did wish for only 2 or 3 things in a partner, and I actually got that. Once I got it, I realized, no, this is not what I want. Like, this person comes with so much baggage and so many things I don't agree with, that those 3, 4 things I wanted are not even satisfying anymore, in a way, let's say. So, after a while, I've actually refined my list. Now, how long the list should be, again, it depends on you, because there is literally no limit to it. And yes, one more thing I would just want to add to the list thing. The very interesting thing is that my husband too had a list. He wrote his list 3 years before we've met. I don't want to scare you off. Yes, it might take years sometimes. However, when he wrote it, he was in a relationship already. So he wasn't necessarily looking. He just wanted to get clear on what is the ideal type of partner that he would want. I had just 21 bullet points on my list. He had 36 points and like 7-page essay of how the perfect partner would look like in his eyes. And the very interesting thing is that literally all the 36 points I've met when we've met, and because obviously later on, once we talked about the list, we've shared those with each other. And I was quite amazed to see how in detail he described me even 3 years before meeting each other. So even down to like the languages that we speak, because we speak 3 of the same languages, even down to dark hair and green eyes, which I have, even down to personality traits, which again I have. So it could have not been me. That's possible as well, because there are so many other people that could have met the criteria on his list. That is possible as well. But when we've met, we've also clicked like super hard, like instantly. I would say we've clicked from the very first time we've seen each other. It was strange even how well we've clicked with each other. So you can include anything on that list, even things like passion, excitement, loyalty, if that's important to you, family, kids, everything that's important to you, include it on the list. And then be grateful for having that partner, even if physically it's a bit difficult because you don't see them right there. If you have this feeling, the feeling is first, and then the reality comes second.
Yeah, I love this manifestation piece. It's so cool. Diana, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom here. I included the links for anyone who's interested in starting to play this game with their partners. It's in the description, and then there's also a link to your LinkedIn profile. So if anybody wants to reach out with like extra questions.
Definitely. If you guys have any questions that we haven't answered, make sure to reach out anytime. I'm the only one replying to them, so you're safe. You can ask any questions that you want. I would also just like to mention that other than our website, you can find the Better Topics game on Amazon too, for US, UK, and Australia. And also on our website, you can find details on the Better Topics app as well, because we have the physical card game, which is this one, as Tobias showed as well. And we also have the Better Topics app too.
Yeah, amazing. And then just to mention, because Mia was asking lots of questions around like dating. So Diana is working on some interesting piece. Maybe if you just want to share 1 minute about your upcoming project, and then we'll close the space for today.
Yes. So I'll try to make this short because I know we've run over time already. But I'm so passionate about this, I can't stop talking about it. So Better Topics Game for Couples was the very first game that I've created together with my husband. And right now we are working on a second game for people who are in their dating phase, to help them make better decisions in dating. And once you know exactly what you're looking for and what to pay attention to, it can really cut your dating time from wasting 3 to 6 months to a year with someone who might be or might not be good for you, to maybe even just 1 or 2 dates, and then that's it, you can move on because you realize they're not the right person for you. The game is super fun. It's played in a different way than the Better Topics game for couples, for obvious reasons. It will be able to be played in groups as well, because what we want is, to have this conversation around what are the important traits that you're looking in your perfect partner. And once you get those clarified in your mind, it will be so much easier and so less stressful when you're dating. Because I strongly believe that if you get the right partner for you, the whole relationship is a lot easier to grow, instead of just trying to figure out if this partner is the perfect one, is not, is and one thing I would say, many times we kind of know from the beginning, we just don't want to accept it. But this dating game will actually help you be clearer on what is it that you want in a partner. And when you don't find that, it's fine, you can just move on. Like, there are so many people in the world, it's amazing. You can find them in real life, you can find them online. Like, the whole continent is I mean, the whole world is connected now, not just the whole continent. Like, the whole world literally is connected now via the internet, so you can find people anywhere in the world. People always move from for their amazing partner. I mean, I was living in the UK at the time, and my husband actually moved from Mexico back to our hometown, back to the UK for me. So things like that always happen. And interestingly enough, we met so many couples that moved at least from one city to another for their partner. So even if you're in a place where you think like, oh no, I know everyone around me, I don't like anyone, you can also find someone from a different place at any point if you know exactly what you're looking for.
It's super
Also,
exciting.
sorry, just one thing I want to wrap up with is that this dating game we're working on right now will be launched in September via a Kickstarter campaign, but more details on that on our website in the coming months.
Amazing. Diana, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and perspectives on having awesome relationships. Lots of love.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun. And guys, if you have any questions, just shoot them over anytime. I'll be more than happy to answer.
Amazing. And see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.